Christian fortitude in order to suffering is evinced. Wherein the necessity and usefulness of Christian fortitude in order to sufferings is evinced, with a brief account of its nature and the means of attaining it. The next grace, which occurs to the completing of our actual readiness for sufferings, is Christian fortitude, or holy courage, which must say in thy heart in a time of danger, as Elijah once did, as the Lord lives, I will show myself. This also is a choice part of your preparation work. In this grace our apostle was eminent. When he was told, bonds and afflictions waited for him, he could say that none of these things moved him, Acts 20, verse 24. Yea, when he was to appear before the lion Nero, and not a man would own or stand by him, yet he stands his ground, resolving rather to die in the place, than dishonorably to recede from his principles and profession, 2 Timothy 4, verses 16 and 17. He set the world, with all of its threats and terrors, lower than it set him. Oh, how conspicuous was this grace in all those heroes that have passed on before us. And if ever you hope to stand in the evil day, and be fetched off the field with honor, you must rouse up and awaken your courage for God, and the necessity thereof will appear upon these four considerations. Number 1, because the success and prevalence of Satan's temptations in the hour of persecution depends upon the feigning and overthrow of this grace. Wherefore doth he raise persecutions in the world? But because such terrible things are fitted to work upon the passion of carnal fear, which rises with those dangers, it makes the soul so tumultuous. See, this is it he aims at, Nehemiah 6, verse 13. This is a multiplying passion that represents dangers more and greater than they are, and so drives the soul into the very net and snare laid by the devil to take it, Proverbs 29, verse 25. The fear of man brings a snare, which is sadly exemplified in Abraham in Genesis 12, verse 12, and divers others of the saints. If he can but subdue this grace, he will quickly bring you to capitulate your life and liberty upon the basest and most dishonorable terms. Therefore, the preparation of this grace is so exceedingly necessary. Number 2, because this is the grace that honors Jesus Christ abundantly when you're brought upon the stage for him. There is a great solemnity at the suffering and trial of a saint. Heaven, earth, and hell are spectators, observing the issue and how the saints will acquit themselves in that hour. We're made a spectacle, saith the apostle. Word means we are as set upon a theater in public view, 1 Corinthians 4, verse 9. God, angels, and saints wait to see the glorious triumphs of their faith and courage, reflecting honor upon the name and cause of Christ. Devils and wicked men gave for an advantage by their cowardice certainly very much lies now upon the Christian's hands, should he faint and give ground. How will it furnish the triumphs of hell, and make Christ's enemies vaunt over him, as if his love ran so low in the hearts of his people that they durst not adventure anything for him, or as if, notwithstanding their brave words and glorious profession, they durst not trust their own principles when it comes to the trial. But if now they play the men, and discover in holy gallantry a spirit and resolution for Christ, how will it daunt the enemies, and make them say, as Marcius, Bishop of Aruthia, made one of Julian's nobles present at his torments, to say concerning him, We are ashamed, O Emperor, the Christians laugh at thy cruelty. And how will God himself rejoice in glory over them, as he once did over Job when he fetched him with honor off that first field, Job 2, verse 3. Still, he holdeth fast his integrity. Number 3, your own peace is wrapped up in it, as well as God's glory. Is it nothing, think you, to be freed from those vultures and harpies that feed upon the hearts of men at such times? Surely God reckons that he promises a very great mercy to his people when he promises it. Proverbs 1. Psalm 112, verse 7. When Borromeus was told of some that lay in wait to take away his life, it troubled him not, but he said, What is God in the world for naught? And like to this was the answer of Salentarius in the like case, If God take not care for me, How do I live? Well, this is it that brings you to unholy quietude of spirit. In times of confusion and distraction with the choice, mercy. Number 4, your magnanimity is of special use to other saints who are following you in the same path of sufferings. If you faint, it is like the fainting of a standard bearer in an army. You bring thereby an evil report upon the cross of Christ, as the first spies did upon the land of Canaan, and a like influence with that it is like to have on your brethren. So there is a necessity of improving this grace also before you can say with Paul you are ready. Number 2, but what is this Christian fortitude, and wherein doth it consist? I answer briefly. It is in holy boldness and the performance of difficult duties, flowing from faith in the call of God, and is promised to us in the discharge of them. And so you have the nature of it in these 4 particulars. 1, it is in holy boldness, not a natural or sinful boldness, arising either from the natural constitution or evil disposition of the mind. Number 2, it is expressed about duties for truth, not error. Jeremiah 9 verse 3, for the interest of Christ, not of the flesh. Number 3, the season in which it appears is when duties are surrounded and beset with difficulties and dangers. Daniel 3 verses 16 and Daniel 6 verse 10. Number 4, the fountain whence it flows is faith, and that, as it respects the command and call of God to duty. Acts 16 verse 10. And is promised to us in the discharge thereof, Joshua 1, 5, and 6. And his grace stands opposed both to the fear of man and the cause of God, Hebrews 11, 27, and to apostasy from the truth for fear of suffering. Thus briefly of the nature of it. Number 3, in the last place I shall lay down some rules for the promoting and improvement of it, and so finish this chapter. Now there are 10 rules heedfully to be observed for the breeding of holy courage in the breast of a saint in evil times. Rules. Number 1. And the first rule is this: get a weaned heart from all earthly enjoyments. If the heart be inordinately fixed upon any one thing that you possess in the world, that inordinate estimation of and affection for it will strangely effeminate, soften, and cowardize your spirit. When your trial comes, 2 Timothy 2 verse 4. You meet not with a man of courage for God, but had his heart dead to earthly things. So it was with Paul in Philippians 3 verse 8. Since the apostles, we scarce meet with a greater example of magnanimity than Martin Luther. And if you read his story, you will find few men ever set a lower rate on the world than he. All the Turkish Empire in his eye was but a crumb cast to the dogs. Money could not tempt him. Number 2 rule: suffer not guilt to lie upon your consciences. It is a fountain of fears, and you can never attain boldness for God till it be removed. Romans 5, 1-3. The spirit of a sound mind is opposed to the spirit of fear, 2 Timothy 1, verse 7. Now that sound mind is a mind or spirit that is not wounded and made sick and infirm by guilt. Oh, what black fogs and mists arise out of guilt, which becloud our evidences and fill us with fear and discouragements. Genesis 42, verse 21 and 22. Number 3, rule: clear your call to difficult services. Be well satisfied that you are in that way and posture God expects to find you in. What courage this will give, Joshua 1 verse 9. Oh, what courage this will give, Joshua 1 verse 9. Then a man may promise himself God's presence and protection, 2 Chronicles 15 verse 2. But whilst a man is dubious here, and cannot tell whether it be his duty or not that he is engaging in, how can he have any courage to hazard anything for it? For, thinks he, I may suffer much from men and yet have no thanks of God for it. 1 Peter 2 verse 9. Further, till a man be clear in this, he cannot commit his cause to God. And it is a sad thing to be cut off from so choice a relief as that is. 1 Peter 4 verse 19. Rule number 4, get right notions and apprehensions of your enemies. We're apt to magnify the creature as if he could do more than he can, and thereby disable ourselves from doing what we should. Possess your souls with the belief of these 5 things concerning them. Number 1, that they are poor, weak, enemies. Isaiah 40 verse 15, 17, and 22. That is the swarm of gnats in the air. See how God describes them in Isaiah 51 verses 13 and 14. Number 2, that little power they have is limited by your God who is abounding in ordering of it. John 19 verse 11, Psalm 74 verse 10. Number 3, they carry guilt upon them, which makes them more timorous than you. Isaiah 8 verse 12. Their fear is a strange fear. Number 4, they only use carnal weapons against you, which cannot touch your souls. If they were praying, enemies that could engage God against you, they'd be formidable enemies indeed. But this they cannot do. The largest commission that any of them ever had from God extended but to the bodies and bodily concerns of the saints. Luke 11:4 and 5. They cannot thunder with an arm like God, nor blot your name out of the book of life, nor take your part out of the New Jerusalem. Therefore, fear not man. Number 5, your enemies are God's enemies, and God has espoused your cause and quarrel. The more cruel they are, the kinder he will be to you. John 9 verses 34 and 35. Rule number 5, labor to engage the presence of God with you in all places and conditions. Whilst you enjoy this, your spirits will be invincible and undaunted. Joshua 1 verse 9, Psalm 118 verse 6. A weak creature assisted and encouraged by the presence of a great God will be able to do and suffer great things. Poor flesh in the hand of an almighty spirit acts above itself. A little dog, if his master be by, and animates him, will seize upon a greater beast than himself, though he would run from him were his master absent. Our courage ebbs and flows as the manifestations of the divine presence does. Oh, get yourself once within the line of that promise in Isaiah 43 verses 1 and 2, and thou art invincible. Rule number 6, get in high estimation of Jesus Christ and all his concerns. They that value him highest will adventure for him furthest. Magnanimous Luther, how inestimable a value did he set upon the truths of Christ. Let heaven rush rather than a crumb of truth should perish. Thou will never be a man of zeal and courage for Christ's interest, until that interest of Christ has swallowed up all thine own interests. No sooner is a soul acquainted with and interested in Christ, but he heartily wishes well to all his affairs and concerns. Psalm 45 verses 3 and 4. This is that which puts mettle and resolution for Christ into the soul. Rule number 7, beware you be not cheated with maxims of carnal policy, mistaken for Christian prudence. Many are so, and they prove destructive to all true zeal and courage for Christ. Never was religion professed with greater plainness and simplicity than by the primitive Christians, and never was there an higher springtide of courage and zeal for God than in those days. We're apt to call it prodigality, and are grown wiser to husband our lives and comforts better than they did. But indeed, our credentials have even swallowed up our religion. It is true, there is such a thing as Christian prudence, but this does not teach men to shun all costly and difficult duties and prostitute conscience to save the skin. A man of understanding walks uprightly, Proverbs 15 verse 21. Rule number 8, look upon the inside of troubles for Christ as well as upon the outside of them. If you view them by an eye of sense, there appears nothing but manner of discouragement. To look on the outside of a prison, banishment, or death is affrighting and horrible, but then if you look into the inside of these things by faith and see what God has made them to his people, and how joyful and comfortable they have been in these conditions, what honey they have found in the carcass of a lion, what songs in the stocks and dungeons, what glory in tribulation, and hundredfold reward even in their sufferings. Oh, then, which looked upon a serpent at a distance will appear but as a rod in hand. How many have found themselves quite mistaken in their apprehensions of sufferings, and been more loath to come out of a prison than they were to go in, if you did but see your supports, and the comforts that souls ordinarily meet with in their troubles for Christ, you would not look on them as such formidable things. Rule number 9. View the issue and reward of sufferings by an eye of faith. This also will strongly abate the horror and dread of them. Hebrews 10 verse 34. Upon this account it is the saints have so slighted and contemned them. Romans 8 verse 18, 2 Corinthians 4 verses 16 and 17. But then you see that you act your faith. Number 1, upon the certainty of it. Look at it as the most real and substantial thing, Hebrews 11 verse 1. And number 2, view it as a great and glorious reward. And number 3 is near at hand. And then say to thy soul, come on, my soul, come on. Seest thou the joy set before thee, the crown of glory ready to be set on thy head by the hand of a righteous God? Oh, what comparison is there betwixt those sufferings and that glory? Rule number 10. Propound to yourselves the best patterns and examples. Keep your eye upon the cloud of witnesses. These are of special use to beget holy courage, Hebrews 12 verse 1, James 5 verse 10. Who would be afraid to enter the lists and grapple with that enemy that he has seen so often foiled, and that by a poor, weak Christian? See how the enemy with whom you are to grapple has been beaten hand to hand and triumphed over by poor women and children. They had as great infirmities, and you have as gracious assistances as those that are gone before you.